All right, guys, I love shotguns and I love to have fun. We're looking at two firearms, not shotguns, not short barrel shotguns, not any other weapons. We're talking about firearms. Now, the ATF classifies a shotgun as a firearm designed to be fired from the shoulder and designed to use the energy of the explosive in a fixed shotgun shell to fire through a smooth bore, either a number of projectiles or a single projectile for each pull of the trigger. Okay, what happens is you basically have a shotgun with a barrel of less than 18 inches that's considered an SBS, a short barrel shotgun, and it's subject to, of course, your $200 tax stamp. Any other weapon, you have some issues that fall into that also. Why does this not fall into those same categories, you're asking? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because this was not a shotgun from the manufacturer originally that was modified to be like this. This came factory equipped, just like you see it. Now, the icing on the cake is the Shockwave Raptor pistol grip. This pretty much makes it impossible for someone to fire this gun from their shoulder. That's what the ATF doesn't want you to do with something really short like this. It also keeps this particular shotgun or this particular firearm over 26 inches long from tip to back. The Mossberg Shockwave is built on the old tried and true 590 shotgun from Mossberg, and the Tac14 is built on the old reliable 870 from Remington. Both firearms come in 12 gauge. They shoot 2 3/4 to 3 inch shells. The Mossberg is a 5+1 capacity in a normal size shell, whereas the Remington is a 4+1. The barrels are both 14 inches long. They both have a bead front sight. The Mossberg has a matte blued finish, which is pretty durable, and the Remington has a little bit nicer black oxide finish, also seems to be extremely durable. The Mossberg has an aluminum frame, which makes it 5.25 pounds, slightly under the 5.65 pound steel frame of the actual Remington. MSRP on these things, you might expect a little bit higher MSRP on the Remington, which comes in at $443 MSRP. The Mossberg actually has a $455 MSRP, but that might be because it is a little bit better value because it can hold more rounds and it's just as reliable as any old 590. Now, of course, you're wondering, how do they handle? They feel a little bit different. Obviously, you've got your Raptor buttstock here that makes it what it is as a firearm, but you have to understand that with the length of the barrel here, there can be some potential safety issues involved. Obviously, muzzle flashing your hand. This thing, I can reach much further out here than what the length of the barrel is if I'm shooting a standard gun. And if you can't tell by the camera angle, I'm at least a foot behind to the left of the muzzle over here. I'm not in front of it. But both of these both of these firearms have done something to address the potential of a hand going in front of your muzzle. On the Mossberg here, they have this little strap right here. Obviously, whenever you're shooting this thing, you kind of want to get your hand into the strap because then you can kind of manage it. If you are shooting it anywhere near your face, which I caution you, because by shooting it near your face, you're going to run the risk of popping yourself in the head or possibly knocking some teeth out. The Remington, on the other hand, they use the Magpul stock. And what they do is, it's got this little bit of a ledge right here, and of course we're empty. It's got this little ledge, so you don't have to make a conscious effort to put your hand anywhere. You're gonna feel where your hand is. You're gonna feel when it gets there. Now, honestly, I'd like to see that stop a little bit thicker. This is the one that they've always put on the Remington 870 tactical shotguns, and it's done the job because usually your barrel is much further out here. In this case, I would prefer to see Magpul come out with a little, or maybe anybody else that's aftermarket for that matter, come out with a stop that you kind of see on some of these AR-15s where it's a really pronounced stock of about 2, possibly 3 inches, but 2 inches I think would do the trick. 1 inch would probably do the trick better than this. But you do have something that you feel that whenever you need to get out there, you can. You've got your hand that's gonna hit right there. Now, both firearms will hold 2 3/4 inch shells, and they'll also hold 3 inch shells. And they both hold, what happened, Remington? You're only holding 4+1. I just put 5+1 on the Mossberg. That's a strike against you, Remington. Why? Why would you put something out to compete directly with a Mossberg, same size, everything, knowing that your shotgun cannot shoot the small shells already because you don't have a device to adapt to it, and knowing that you hold one last round of standard size shells? Now, how do they actually shoot? We've got our, remember, 4 rounds here in the Remington, and we're gonna shoot at these steel targets over here just to get a feel for how you shoot this thing. I'm not gonna hip shoot it just yet. I wanna actually shoot it like you're shooting a normal shotgun. This is the first time I've fired either one of these, so I guess there's a very good chance I might bust some teeth out or break a nose. So let's take a look at what we got going on here and see if I'm going to be effective or if you guys are going to have a really cool YouTube video that you can show your kids later on. I missed with, I shot high on the last shot. Okay, that's my 4 right there that I shot. And you see these shells, the rounds, the spent casings, they actually come out pretty good. Remington has had some issues of ejection and chamber holding up some of the low brass and even some high brass. And definitely the swelling of the plastic has had some issues with Remingtons, at least as far as quality control lately. And I can honestly say that each one of them came out fine with very little effort. Let's see how the Mossberg does. Pretty much expect the same thing out of the Mossberg. Maybe we can shoot a little better with the Mossberg, and I can hit 5. I do have an extra shell, so let's see how it goes. A little erratic on a couple of those shots. That's not the one I was shooting for on that last one. But nevertheless, doesn't seem not an issue with the Mossberg ejecting either. It rarely is on a Mossberg. The 500s and the 590s, I've not found much of an issue as far as the swelling of the plastic on the inside, or even a lower high brass issue, usually a lower brass issue. I've not seen much of an issue. As you saw, the thing's relatively easy to shoot. I don't think holding it like this, as long as if you got a decent firm grip, you're gonna be fine. I did notice that it's sweaty out here in Louisiana. It's 90-something degrees. You do have to make sure you've got a solid grip. All right, guys, I'm finding that these things are actually pretty easy to handle. Pretty remarkable. I wasn't expecting that. I don't see that the missing buttstock into your shoulder is that much of an issue. I'm sure it's definitely going to equate to some control issues when you're trying to shoot really precision. But I actually find that your arms absorbing that recoil makes it a little bit easier to shoot this thing for a little bit longer period of time. I love shotguns and I love having fun. Let's have a little fun right here and see what kind of practical use, hunting wise or otherwise, we may have for these guns. Check it out. Now, I got it with the second shot. That's a benefit that the Remington is not going to have. I needed all 5 rounds in here. Let's give the Remington a shot. If I would have shot it with the 4 shots, the first 4 shots like I was supposed to, I wouldn't have needed that 5th shot. So yeah, that's on me, not Remington. All right, we're all set. Let's go Big Green. Let's see if we're going to need that 5th shot that the Mossberg provided me. Oh, I needed it. I'm just not a good shot. All right, guys, I got a Winchester rifled slug in here. It's the Razorback 2 3/4 inch rifled slug. I only got one in here. I want to see what we're getting at distances over here with a rifled slug. So let's give this sucker a shot and see if we have any kind of accuracy at 20 yards. As you noticed, my hands are very sweaty. Look at the sweat on the stock. That's going to be the danger of these guns. If you're shooting this thing in the hot Louisiana weather, I'm going to show this thing as a replay. That stock came back. It slipped. It didn't come completely out of my hand, I don't think. I'll be watching a replay myself. But it's a good thing I had a good grip in my left hand, because that thing definitely came backwards. 20 yards, we're on target. Knocked our target down. All right, guys. The Razorback, 2 3/4 inch round, rifled slug. Dry my hand off a little bit for safety reasons. Here we go. Don't try this at home, guys. I mean that. All right. I was able to hold on to it here, but when I shot this thing, not safe. If you noticed, this thing slid completely. Now remember, I'm clear here. Clear. Nothing at all in there, okay? When I shot this thing, I had my hand up here, and when I pulled the trigger and it went bang, my hand stayed in place, but the gun came backwards, and my hand went in front of that muzzle. A little dangerous, guys. I'm one of the few guys that's going to be truthful to you and let you know that that kind of stuff can happen. Not knocking the gun, but with the Mossberg, that strap that was on it, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So if you're going to shoot these things, again, it's accurate. It's accurate at 20 yards with a rifled slug. But if you're going to shoot these things at a distance like that, with that kind of recoil, because again, a rifled slug doesn't give me a whole lot more recoil than that bird shot that I was shooting over here on these steel targets. But if you're going to do that, guys, you got to be careful. I don't know any other way. Don't do it when you're sweating. As you see, my arms are sweating. I'm sweating all over this gun. So not the safest thing that I've ever done right there. Without having another round in there, and of course without charging it and putting another round in there, there was no imminent danger. But it's never safe to have any part of your body, or anybody else's for that matter, in front of the muzzle. So I do not recommend trying this at home, guys. I'm not trying to be a pansy here. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I just don't want to see anybody in our gun community get injured or hurt in any kind of way doing something. All right. 9 targets. All right, guys. I've got 9 targets set up over here. I've got my 3 silhouettes, my clay pigeon, and 5 of my steel bottles over here. I've got 9 rounds. Remember, I have 8 plus 1 in the Mossberg with the little small Aguila shells. So let's see if I can run through this thing and get all 5 of the bottles, 3 of my silhouettes, and end it with my skeet. Yeah, let's try that. All right, fellas, 9 rounds, 9 targets. Please don't embarrass me. Come on, you guys, pull for me a little bit. Pull for me. Here we go, guys. I'm going to run it straight through. 9 rounds, whether I miss or not. I'm not going back to on an old target. We'll see what I got left over once I finish up. Got it. But I missed 2. I got 2 of them over there that I did not get. I want to see something. I shot those 2 earlier and they did not go down. I'm wondering if I'm just missing these guys or if they are that hard to go down. Let's see here. Nope, I just missed them. Yeah, I just missed them. All right, well, that's probably going to do it here today, guys. I had a good time shooting these shotguns. Oh, sorry, firearms. The Mossberg and the Remington Tac14, 14 based on the length. They're a lot of fun. As I showed you all, be really careful when shooting these things if your hands are sweaty, like mine are. The barrel also gets extremely hot when you shoot at a rapid rate of fire like that. I would say they're great truck guns if you keep them safe, keep them secure, keep them away from kids. That's probably one thing I would be really careful of, is making sure you let your kids know that although they have the appearance of being small and kind of handy, they still are not toys.